Hello, good evening everyone. How's everyone doing? I'm going to start. I don't know what's up with this sound. I'm going to move it up. Hopefully you can hear me a bit better now. Zero says might not be the bottom yet. I agree, it might not be the bottom yet. But I do think that we potentially could be close to a bottom. But it's not a bottom until it actually turns around and starts going up again. So here we are in Bitcoin. All of our moving averages are bunched up together. And when we do that, it usually means sideways trading and waiting for a breakout move. We've had this, as you know, this lovely rally at the end of October, and we've been waiting for a pullback to get long. Now, the question is now, where was that going to be? Because when I look at this, we are in between the 61.8, 38.2 kind of golden ratio zone, and normally the 50% level in the middle, which was around our 8,500 level, would normally act as a support, a pivot up and down support here, and we've lost the support of this level, so we're headed a little bit lower. But it does also mean potentially that we could go all the way back to the bottom of the range, and so we shouldn't ignore that possibility. I would say though, when we look at the way that we rallied and the way that this correction has unfolded, that this pullback is all corrective, and I think we're now in a declining wedge, and that should resolve to the upside at some point. The problem is everybody's got to stop trying to buy it, because it's the stops of people trying to buy it that I think are sending us lower. We make a little shelf, everybody buys some, the exchange runs the stops underneath. That's the rocket fuel that sends us lower. So this is not people actively selling it, it's just people buying a little, I think, too early, that's all. Now, why do I think that I've got a pink zone drawn here around 8,000? The reason I've got a pink zone around here around 8,000 is because if this is our A leg lower here, okay, let me mark it like this. If this was our A leg, and then for our B leg, we had a kind of irregular like this, A, B, C, and now we're in our C leg, then this leg and this leg should be equal. So let's, this one and this one. Now, if we do that, this is where we end up. If this leg and this leg are equal, we end up at 8,000. And so that's why I think a little bit lower, around 8,000, 7,900 is where we have a completed ABC correction, where our declining wedge may have finished, and where I would be looking for strong upside movement. If we are going to go up again, we will see, we keep seeing it, and it keeps, they keep trying to ignite momentum and get everybody to jump in with these strong moves starting up again with no follow through. So if we see a strong move that moves up, pops out of this sideways range, pops this trend line, and then instead of coming all the way back again as it has done before, we get that lower high, that's going to be our buy signal. So, people who are patient are going to win. I have to say though, I go to bed every night worried that Bitcoin's going to make a bottom and take off without me. So I have already bought some Bitcoin. What I intend to do when I see us make a bottom is buy some more lower down, and that kind of improves my price, if you know what I mean. But I am pretty confident with the way this is unfolding that we should turn higher. Is it possible to chart BTC dominance? Yes, it is. Here's Bitcoin dominance. So this is a big weekly chart of Bitcoin dominance. We had a really nice 5-wave rally. Potentially we could be starting a big 3-wave correction, that would see alts outperform for a bit. Here on the daily, so we're headed back. So the week, it's interesting that this level here is where the daily 200 is, and if we put our weekly chart on, the weekly 200 is a little bit lower as well. So we could see Bitcoin dominance drop further. If we make a measured move in this, like this, ta-da, like this brings us back towards the daily 200 moving average. So, I see this coming off a bit, and therefore I think other coins doing really well while that happens. Okay, Giselle says you had pullback, bounce, and then down again. Well, that's very interesting you say that, Giselle, because let's look at previous bottoms in Bitcoin. You know, they don't here. I had to say, I think this was due to go a little bit further and we missed a little leg off here. But we never just hit the low and turn on a V bottom and go up in a straight line. We almost always, you know, we did once or twice, but almost always we kind of go sideways, build a bit of a base. Very often Bitcoin likes to retest levels. And so, you know, and even if you don't catch the actual bottom, does it matter? It matters that you buy Bitcoin when it's going up, really. You know, 6 months from now, nobody's going to say, oh, you got it at 8,200 and I got it at, you know, 7,900. Like, I'm better than nobody cares. You know, the point is that mental capital we're trying to preserve. So we're going to try and wait before we go all in with leverage. We're going to try and wait to make sure that Bitcoin actually has made an actual bottom and has reversed and is going up. And, you know, one of the most important lessons I learned when I was first trading and learning really trend trading is that the market has 3 directions: up, down, and sideways. Bitcoin is better than we used to think it was at going sideways. And if we're going to go up from here, the first thing that we have to do is stop going down. So that means that we stop going down and we go sideways, and then we can think about going up again. So patience is not, you know, patience is a good thing. You know, I really do miss the bull market as well, because, you know, if you had the thing is that we can all be genius traders in a bull market, because if we get a shitty entry in a bull market, it doesn't matter, eventually it was going to come back. In this market, you know, we could be in a bit of trouble if we do that. So now, I'm wrong about this being an impulsive move, obviously. If we break this 7,300 level, I don't think we will. But here's the thing. When we look at the big rally that we did since the start of the year, but December if you like, and we think that this is wave 1, really for this wave 2 pullback, it could come all the way, you know, we could come all the way back to 5,500. And that doesn't mean that this isn't a wave 1 and the next one's going to take us to new highs. You know, the really, ideally, you know, somewhere between 50 and 61.8, which is where we've reversed, would be ideal for this wave 2 pullback. But it doesn't mean that it can't go further. So, you know, we have to be a little bit careful. Here at the moment, flat moving averages, sideways range, really we're only wrong to be bullish underneath 7,300 about this being a low. So all eyes on Bitcoin and the 8,000 round number then. You know, if we look back at what we did before at 8,000, you know, it was a pretty good base here. This is 8,003 here. Let me move it down a little bit. This is 8,000. So a pretty good in terms of support and resistance level. Here it was the highs. And so, you know, let's see what happens. I think there's quite a good pool of liquidity awaiting for us a little bit lower from here. Miguel says, if you're not mistaken, in 2015, we retraced all the wave 1. Let's take a look at Bitstamp, which has really good history. We'll go back and we'll look at 2015 when we made a bottom. And so this was our first. Well, I will say this was our low here, 14th of January. Okay. So here was our first low to high. And we did actually come all the way back to the 61.8. So 61.8, but look how many times we tested it. Like, God, imagine if we thought this was the first rally and this is the pullback and this is where we are basically in terms of 2015, if we're going to do the same. And so it took a long time before we got going again, you know. This is the problem about patience. Actually, in terms of how long we took, that's not true, because really if we do this was a 61.8, you know, I'm not sure that that's really that was wave, I think this was wave 1. Anyway, there we go. We do need to have quite a lot of patience. If we take this, oh, in fact, this is wave 1. Let's take this here as wave 1. So from 2012, we'll take our lows down here to the high that we made in 2013. Okay, I think this is what you mean. Let me put a weekly chart on. Because, yeah, we almost to the 886 Fib retrace. So, yeah, it was very big. And look, here's our first rally, our first pullback to the 61.8, 38.2, came back, bounced off it again, rejected in the middle and down, you know. So, yeah, it's not a sure thing that we are about to start the next leg higher. I think it looks good, but now, if we go back to where we are now, you can see that really, yeah, we're looking for, this is the rally, this is the correction to be complete, and our new upswing to start again. But it might be that we're not quite there. So really, we're not going to know until we see how it unfolds. Now, when I look at some of the other pairs, I'm much more hopeful. For example, Ethereum. Let's start on a weekly chart with Ethereum. Because we've done a really steep one. I think that we've done a really nice pullback, and I do think that the next leg higher is going to be is beginning in this one, or we're making a base to do it, and back above this weekly 20 moving average, which we can hardly see here. Let's take away these fib levels. Above this weekly 20 moving average, you see how we're bunching up underneath it? That would signal the next swing higher. For me, the weekly moving averages, we have a bullish cross, we've pulled back, found support from them, we've got a really nice double bottom. I think we're all set in Ethereum. It may be that we end up just doing a big ABC, but I do think that we're setting up for the next swing higher. And if I look at Litecoin, when Litecoin has been kind of leading the pack for in this one, now I'm a little bit less bullish here, but I do think in terms of, you know, a new upswing that will take us to new highs, but I do think this bullish cross of our daily moving averages, this is what we're at, this position here before we start a new upswing. All the way down, our moving averages stayed in a downtrend. So here we are in Litecoin as well, making a base based on these moving averages for the next push higher. So now we're in our pullback phase. It's in a slightly different count, I think, in Litecoin. Now we've just hit the 61.8 level in this one. This 50%, I thought initially that might hold it with all these bunched up moving averages, but Litecoin is a bit in the same position as Bitcoin, as in we've lost that support and we could see a bigger pullback. If we look at where the support is here on our left, gosh, it could come all the way back down here, you know, around 52, back to 52.72. So it's just a matter of waiting until we turn up again in all of these. I really don't see, even in Litecoin, new lows at the moment. And I feel like just we need to be patient and look away. Shami would like to buy Litecoin at 20. Well, let's take a look at the weekly. I can't see. You know, for me, when you look at trend and moving averages, the moving averages are a trend guide. When your moving averages go flat, you've got no trend up or down. You're just consolidating sideways. So here on the weekly, we've got no trend. We're consolidating sideways, seeing if we can make a base. If we pop above these moving averages, then we're on our way up. But otherwise, we're stuck here. And yeah, we're due a bounce in this one. You can't just go down in a straight line forever. So I'm sorry about my dog's in a fiendish mood tonight. Now in Litecoin, this is a 786 bounce. Now fib rules for me say if you bounce from a 786 fib, your confirmation that you've reversed is back above the 61.8. So in Litecoin, that would be above 69.50 US dollar. And then your target is, first target is the 38.2, which is up here. So that's then the meat in our sandwich. So from here to here. So whilst we're going sideways and whilst we're underneath 69.52, we're really in no man's land and we don't have a trend. But from 69.52 to 98.72, we've got a long setup. So yeah, nothing really to do until it decides which way next, unfortunately. So like a lot of coins. Okay, so there are some that I think have more potential than others and are maybe starting moves. So, you know, the shapes that markets make when they're in that going sideways mode, when the moving averages are flat, quite often give us an indication about which way next. If we get an equal measured move, an ABC correction, that's very often points to bearishness. So here, when I look at XLM, we can see that we have made an equal measured move. ABC. So whilst this looks like quite a nice bottoming pattern, a rounded bottom, whatever, unless we can break this bearish symmetry, the likelihood is that we've just done a correction and we're still going to continue lower in XLM. Now, I have a kind of little rule, like if we don't come back so far, if we don't break this 61.8 level that we broke above, and this moving average here, in other words, if we find support here and carry on higher, or say we make a, I don't know, a wedge pattern, or then we haven't got rejected. Or if we just break these highs again and above this 200 moving average, we'll draw it as a horizontal level, then I'm wrong about the bearish symmetry and we're on our way higher again. And if we do that, then that's our long entry. And then not only that, but above the 200 moving average, we can look for this big 236 fib level from the highs as a target. And see this opening price and these lows, see how they all line up. 2000, I think, is where we're headed if we can get above this 200 moving average. So while we're down here in Loom XLM, whilst we're going sideways, whilst we're underneath the 200 moving average, there really isn't kind of any strong trend. We're just trying to catch a dip that will get us out there and break us out. So that's what I'm looking for in Lumen, and we really do need to break this bearish symmetry at 951 Lumen Bitcoin. Now, does this mean that Lumen isn't going to go up against the US dollar? It doesn't. You know, Bitcoin could rally and Lumen could rally with it. It's just you want to be in the one that's outperforming, and here in Lumen US dollar we're not outperforming so much. Yeah, I will take a look at BCH and we'll do some more. And I'm really sorry about the dog barking. I don't know what I'm going to do at the moment to shut her up, because I can't talk to her and you at the same time. Okay, let's Lumen now. Here's another one which looks really promising. I know ADA. This is ADA Bitcoin. You know, all of these coins against Bitcoin with the dip in Bitcoin look like they're making great bottoms, don't they? And here we are. It's all right, Nigel, I'll let you off the hook. Here we are in ADA, Bitcoin going sideways. Flat moving averages, we haven't even got them all. Let me put some more on. There's the rest of our moving averages. I like a 20 and a 50, if you're wondering what I've got on here. So, no trend. We're looking for a breakout. Testing the highs. Testing this previous fib support that we broke and then became resistance. Now, I got excited today because we were trading above it, but the daily close is what's important, and we're back underneath it at 528. And again, we've got this look of an ABC correction in ADA. And now at this point, unless we can break out, and unless we can go beyond that 551 it is now, you know, and find some support, the dog's not. Gibbo, I would never kick my dog. I think it's a pun. That's awful. Okay, So now look at this level, right? This was our red line. This was our level that was resistance. If we're going to see we want to see this hold as support now in ADA, and we want to see a strong move up from here. If we don't, if we get back underneath this level again and it becomes resistance, that's it. We've got a topping out look in ADA, and it's not going to happen. Now, again, that doesn't mean that ADA may not, especially if Bitcoin has a big rally soon. That doesn't mean that ADA US dollar won't go higher. It just means that, you know, better off in Bitcoin. Here's our sideways range in ADA dollar that we haven't been able to get above. Now, we just talked about that 886 fib, didn't we? And how 786, where do you go from kind of just simple fib rules that I use? Okay, so I've drawn my fib from the December lows to the June highs. If you bounce from an 886 fib, and we've got a nice double bottom here in ADA, then if you get above the 786 fib, which is where this red arrow is, the one that we broke underneath, then your target is the 50%. That's the rule for an 886 fib reversal. Oops, shouldn't have done that. So then the meat in our sandwich becomes from above 0.0459 to 0.0717. That's our trade. And we've got a 200 moving average in the middle. It'll give us a wobble probably in the middle. Bad timing for a door slam. I'm sorry, I promise that wasn't me slamming the door. I'm sorry. And the dog is unharmed and snoring now behind me. Okay. So that's ADA. All of these coins stuck underneath resistance, and even the most promising ones, you know, gotta watch closely. Now here's one, Stratus, that I think. Here's Stratus. Now, look at this. We've got a whole bunch of really, I got quite excited today trading above this 50% level. Normally, you know, in a downtrend, 50% is a kind of bull bear line very often. If we look left here in this coin, we can see that this 50% level was quite a big deal around here. So lows, highs, you know, levels that we couldn't close above, support that we sat on here until it broke. And so this 3800 level in Stratus is a big deal. If we can close and hold above it, and close and hold above this 50 moving average, despite this really nasty pullback starting to make this look like a pretty ugly candle, then I think we should continue higher to the top of the range in Stratus. There's lots to like about this Stratus chart. This double bottom with a swing failure pattern and double top, you know, says pretty nice sideways range, but only if we can clear and hold above these moving averages, and again that 50% level. So this is our support then. This is where we're looking for a really nice little, hopefully, ABC correction, and then a turn higher from here pretty soon. This is an hourly chart watching for the retest in Stratus. If we just collapse back underneath this level and a whole complex, everything in crypto goes down, then we're going to have to be a bit more patient. But potentially holding above here takes us to the top of the range and around 4,800 in Stratus next. Then once we get out of this sideways range, you know, when you have whether you have a head and shoulders pattern, double top, triple top, those rules are the same for this sideways range. When you break out of it, you usually go twice the distance of the pattern. That would then take us up to these previous highs and the 200 moving average here around 6,400 next for Stratus. So looking to make a bottom and above 4,750 would be where we're looking for. So that's got a pretty nice look today in a market that's not, you know, ENJ. Okay, so everybody says, what are your three favorites? Tonight, my three favorites are probably Stratus, and ENJ is the next, certainly my favorite one of the day. Let's take a look. I can't remember where it is. ENG, I mean, sorry, losing my mind. Enigma. Okay, again, look, this is another one of those. So from this low to this high, here's our 886 fib level. Here's our reversal confirmation level if we can trade and close above the 786 fib. And again, in Enigma, it's a pretty big level. What I like here about this breakout in Enigma is we're also above the 200-day moving average, and we're accelerating. So I'm looking for 49.16 to hold as support in Enigma against Bitcoin. And when you reverse it in 886, you go back to the 50%. So that's from this low in December 2018 to the high that we made in March 2019 for Enigma Bitcoin. Now, we could, if we collapse, come all the way back, close under this level. It's not going to look so pretty if we do. Sometimes as well, if you put the fibs on this way, if I'm wrong about this pattern, this 236 fib level here at 6763 might be a bit of trouble, but otherwise I think, and clearly these previous highs are going to be, because that's what's going to confirm the double bottom. So 6,046. But in terms of Fibonacci and moving averages, pretty good look here for Enigma, and it's probably my favorite chart of the night. Okay, can I check on Neo? I can. I'll do everything I can, okay? VET, ICX, okay? I should just not choose any. We'll just do requests, it's easier. I really do like this bottoming look here in Walton. The main reason I like this chart in Walton is for the first time, you can see all the way down here, for the first time we closed above the daily 50 moving average yesterday. If we can hold above it, and it's going to look like a miracle, isn't it? Because this candle is so ugly and we've got this sideways range. We should continue higher from here. But so the moving averages, if we can hold them as support, are pointing to another go. So today's low is where we need to find support for Walton Bitcoin, that daily 50. See how it was resistance, 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 resistance. Now we're above it. It should be, if we're going to go higher, support. And if we don't, if we drop underneath today's low, I'm dead wrong. So here we are at the support level, 837. So wait and see if we can get above 837, go back, revisit 900, and get a breakout here in Walton. Where are we going to go if we do? Well, normally you would say if you get above these daily moving averages, you're always looking back to the 200 moving average. That's miles away, unfortunately. So let's say our first stop is going to be this 236 fib level and these lows, and it's at 1162. That's our major trend support. So 1162 first, and then above 1162, we are probably looking at a bullish reversal rather than a bounce in Walton. Next one is MFT. Look at this lovely breakout in mainframe. So good luck. Seriously, well done to anybody who had this. This coin made a blow on the 14th of August and retested it, I don't even know how many times. Really narrow range and broke out today. Huge breakout, no warning. So now this level becomes support. I actually think it's a little bit higher than here. So we'll take this last swing lower for our fibs initially. See where we are? Okay. On fire by pullbacks. Now, if we get all the way to this high, our first target should be 20, because that's the last high before the swing lower. So if you imagine a downtrend is lower highs and lower lows, this is the level that we have to take out to make this a higher low and the 200-day moving average. But this one is far too far gone to buy it tonight. You do need a pullback in mainframe. but en route to 20, and then we'll see what happens there. If you get a nice little shallow pullback, that's definitely one to watch. Let's put the 4 hour on. It's horrible, look. What do I mean by a pullback? See how these moving averages, you know what we're looking for is we're looking for a couple of red candles, pulls back to support, and then turns up higher again. So buy after red, sell after green. That's kind of what I try to do. At least then you have a bit of a cushion. Here's Libra Credit. Why am I watching this one? I'm watching to see if Libra Credit can close today above this 200-day moving average and this previous high, because this one has a really nice bottom going on, and I think we've got a date with 345 next, and more likely the 50% of this swing. I know it looks a bit random that I've got my fibs on here, but I'm always looking for where the 236 fib, like I could put it on the bottom one here. And we could say, oh, this works, look. Our first 236 fib, the 50% gave us a big pullback and so on. And then you've got to say, okay, I'm looking at the bigger swing now. So in this one, the bigger swing probably really should be up here, which would give us our 236 fib target all the way up here at 392 if we can break this 200-day moving average and this previous high. So I'm watching this one closely on a lower time frame. Let's get above it, buy a pullback, and 392 next then for Libra Credit. That's in a really nice uptrend. And Atom finally has got my eye tonight, and then we'll do some requests. Atom. So Atom Bitcoin clearly in an uptrend. 236 fib was resistance, gave us a little pullback, and then we carried on higher. Now we're at the 38.2, looking for a little pullback and then to carry on higher. This little line here, this newly minted little line that we can see, is not a scruffy trend line. This is our brand new 200-day moving average. So at the low of today, and the low is the 20 moving average and the 200 moving average. So that should be really good support that we're sitting on to rally from. So now we need to look and see if we can find on a lower time frame some support here to rally from. We've made a pretty nice base today. When I'm not sure if it's going to rally or not, I put the on both swings. I put the fibs on, and I'm looking for the 236 fib. If we can go beyond that, let's take the other ones off. Then I say that we've probably, and it does work normally, we've probably reversed. And so above 44.51, I think, would confirm a reversal for Cosmos Bitcoin. If we don't, and if we just rally up here and we get stuck, you know, that's it. We've still got further to go before we make a bottom. But 44.51 above there, I think, is a bullish reversal for Atom. And then we're going to look for a retest of these previous highs, 49.28. And then the next step up the ladder, obviously fib level to fib level, would take us to 5896 next in Atom. Okay, so now we're going to do some requests. Everything's been pretty badly hit today. So let's go back to the beginning. We'll find the... I just got to find the Daleks, because the Daleks makes notes of the requests. Oh, there we go. I can't find any. Okay, Raven, Neo, Ada, is that alright? So Neo, let's start with Neo, because I'm feeling pretty bullish. Neo, in fact, Neo is very similar to Atom that we just looked at. In that we've been in a pretty nice uptrend. This was the 236 fib we got knocked back at. We didn't quite get as far as the 38.2, and here we are having a little pullback. How far of a pullback are we going to have? You know, normally you would look at this and say, gosh, we're probably going to come all the way back to this huge support and resistance level, because look, it was support, resistance, support, resistance. potentially we could come all the way back to 1287 unless we see something bullish before then. Something bullish would be a nice equal measured move. So let's measure the hourly 200 moving average. So we're not quite at an equal measured move, or a strong move higher. So above that 236 fib would say Neo's finished the correction and started to go up again. So high to at this point, just if we're going to rally off this hourly 200 moving average, in Neo Bitcoin above 13.99 would be bullish for me, and this low. So otherwise, the potential is that we get lower and haven't quite got there yet. And I feel like that because of Bitcoin hasn't quite got there yet. So 13.28 would be the equal measured move, and then this massive support at 12.87 for Neo. So big picture, I like Neo. I just think that we're in a bit of a pullback. You know, there's not much not to like. We're trading above the 200-day moving average. The 20-day has crossed. Everything is pointing to this being really good support on a pullback. It's just a matter of where really in Neo. So that's how I see that one. Raven, you've asked for a gazillion coins. ZRX. ZRX is another one that's got a really good look in terms of the daily. Okay, daily 200 moving average. All of these daily moving averages were above them. Looks to me like we might have made 5 waves up in this one. So we're just looking at a 3-wave correction. The problem is it's not quite clear that it's over yet. And we're bunching up now in a sideways range with these moving averages. If I draw from this high to the low, you can see that the 50% is where we got stuck in ZRX. Okay, high to low 50%. When you do 50% that way, you usually end up doing 50% the other way, like mean reverting. Markets tend to keep mean reverting. So here we are sitting on the 50%. So potentially we could rally from here. So let's see. 3,205, another one. Are we making a bit of a base today? Not really yet. So we may even have broken that 50% level. So this is another one. It really needs a strong move higher. And some kind of sign of a bottom, like this. A strong move higher and then a retest, a higher low or a double bottom. That's the kind of move that you want to get you in. Especially when I look at moving averages. So here on the hourly, you know, when we rally this time, look at where these moving averages are to get us in. We've got to get above them. But if we do the big rally and the pullback bounce, we pull them all down. So now our long entry price is down here and much cheaper. So it's some better sometimes wait for the big bounce and then wait for the pullback like we're doing in Bitcoin, and then that's your long. So no sign of a bottom yet in ZRX, although bigger picture on the daily, I like this one. I would like to see it find support and turn up higher. When we do, I'm looking for 6276 next in ZRX. XTZ and EOS. Let me find the Daleks list. Here we go. Requests. BCH. So we've done Neo. BCH. Let's take a look at Bitcoin Cash. I'm presuming you mean BCH ABC. Okay. Now, I've drawn my fibs again from this December 2018 low to that high that we made in this one in June. Just like Bitcoin. It's just like Bitcoin. And in this pullback, you know, these fib levels were respected pretty nicely. We did the 61.8, 38.2 here. We dropped a little bit lower, but we didn't get as far as that 786. Look, it's still here. So we bounced back again, double bottom. So I kind of feel like we overshot. And now, but this pivot in the middle, you know how I talked about the 50% in Bitcoin being a pivot level. Here we can see a really good example of how it's supposed to work. We pull back to the 50% pivot level in the middle and couldn't get beyond it. Now we need to see if this 61 will give us support again, and we'll have another go. So I'm hopeful that we will. And this will be it, and we'll go through this time. But this is, the daily 50 moving average, the 61.8, because I think if we break the underneath this 61.8 again, then this time we'll have a date with the 786, which is 170 in BCH Tether, BCH US dollar. So, important that we hold 244 then. Okay, so now when we look low time frame, there's no evidence of it yet, is there? But we've dropped into this level. Let's see. Let's have a peek under the hood. Even 15-minute. Yeah. Any lower than 244 or a close underneath it, and we're looking for 170. So quite important that we hold around here. Okay? Thank you, Giselle. I appreciate you very much. Okay. So we've done VET and ICX. So VET, VeChain has been, every day I look at VeChain. Is today the day? Is this gonna, no. Here's our lovely big, and I'm going to put regular candles on, our lovely big uptrend in VeChain. Our first target is the previous lows. This is like no-brainer target. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. These previous lows here and highs, look, support and resistance level at 100. It's actually 100. I think it's 106. And that's also the 236 fib from the all-time high to low in VeChain Bitcoin at Binance. Your mileage may vary, but that's my upside target. And what we've seen in VeChain is really lovely trend moves. When you have pullbacks, they come back very little. They don't go into the previous swing. So we have a swing, tight consolidation, rally, tight consolidation, and so on. And that's what we're doing here. We've got a rally, tight consolidation. We're waiting for this to break to the upside and take us to our 106 target next. So here it is. In fact, we may even just be beginning it, Now, let's see this on an hourly. So if you buy it here, which is, for me, this is like a perfect hourly buy. If we break this trend line, go into the green on the CCI, it tells us we're crossing moving averages, we're on our way. When you do, the most important thing is that you make a new horizontal high. Otherwise, it's just a sideways range, isn't it, with flat moving averages? But yes, I think VeChain is about to trigger a buy for me, and the target's 106. So we're at 89. If I was buying this now, I'd have my stop probably underneath 85, so maybe 84 or something. And let's see now. The risk is if we don't make a new high, or if we just come up here and we roll over, that we're still, in a correction, and we're making, a 5-wave triangle or something like that. That's always the risk. Okay. But yeah, good look in VeChain, and definitely an upswing. Just, I think, because this is going to be quite strong resistance compared to some, just make sure you take partial profit at 106. If it blasts straight through it, 106 is then going to become support, so you can buy it. Like, don't freak this nut, but this, it is a tough level, 106. And then 150 is your second, and then 185. But yeah, love VeChain. Anything above the 200-day moving average looking like this is amazing. ICX as well. Looking at the dollar, this is all a little bit depressing, isn't it? That we're back down here when this one had so much promise. I would really like this. I've got Heikinashi candles on. I would really like this to make an inverted head and shoulders pattern here, or something like that. But unless we see it do that, unless we see it turn up higher again, this is not a bottom, and it's not kind of what you want to see, because at the moment it just looks a little corrective, and then we're going to carry on lower, doesn't it? If we mark where these are, so I love symmetry in these patterns, then we're kind of at a little bit lower. And that is the 61.8 as well. So in that golden ratio zone now, between the 61.8 and the 38.2, just waiting to see, I guess, if we can find support and swing higher. So far so good, a decent reaction off the lows, but that doesn't mean that they'll hold or that we won't go back down there and retest them, and we need to see what happens then. So looking for 1.499 in ICX US dollar to hold as support ideally. Otherwise I wouldn't, unless I saw this, you know, go green here, I probably wouldn't be long in this one, I'm afraid. Let me just do one more thing. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so that's ICX US dollar having a bad day. Let's see how ICX looks against Bitcoin, because if it's looking all right against Bitcoin, then maybe when it all turns up again, you'd want to be in this one. The problem is, yikes, same path, same thing that we see in so many coins. We've got flat moving averages, so there's no trend whatsoever, and we just double topped, and then we got this base here, so no trend. It's doing exactly what Bitcoin does, not outperforming, not underperforming. ICX at the moment had high hopes, you know, this swing failure pattern might send us all the way back to the top of the range, but we need to do a bit more sideways, it seems, before we can do that in ICX Bitcoin. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is Doge. Doge, the heartbreaker. Okay. Let's go out to a weekly chart with this one, because we'll look at where we are, big picture. So from this big bounce that we had, this is where I put my fib levels, and they all worked really nicely for a bit, you know. We had a really lovely, the 50%, 61.8, 50% was a really good pivot level. This 786 gave us a really nice bounce. Here we are down now at this 886 here, looking for a really nice bounce to take us back to the 50. That's the target if you bounce at an 886 fib. The problem is that it's not a valid reversal. The trade is only if you get back above this 786 fib, because these fibs levels are like a staircase. If you get underneath, you know, so that's the trade in Doge. If we get above 36, we're looking for 64. Whilst we stay underneath 36, we're still on trade in a downtrend. That's a weekly big picture view. So what we're going to try and do now is buy it for a return to 36, aren't we? Hopefully, and a big fat bottoming pattern, and then have a go. Here we are sideways, 200-day moving average. We've got the 20 and the 50 underneath us for support. Just looking for a breakout and not happening. So we've been sideways for about, I think it's 8 days now in Doge. Every day I look at this and say, is today the day we're going to break this 200 and rip? And see how important this 200-day moving average is to Doge. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. We tried to break it here in October and couldn't close above it. So it's really kind of, we're a little bit stuck. That's what we need to do. So if we break out of this narrow sideways range about 32, we're going to look for 36 to be resistance, and above 36 our target is 64. Not really bullish until we do that. Could really, from this sideways range, we could really go either way. We could, you know, this, we could say this is, so be careful. Matic and Zil. Okay, yeah, now Matic has been going great guns. But here's a daily look of Matic. So we talk about, you know, whenever you have a reverse. So from this high to the low, we put our fibs on. Our first target is always the 236 fib. Unless we get above that 236 fib, we're not in a new uptrend. We're just going sideways. And that's unfortunately what we've done in Matic. And not only that, but in Matic was a big ABC correction here. So look, I'm going to measure from that low to that high, like this. There we go. ABC. So that probably means that we've gone ABC up, ABC down. And so I'm not feeling terribly bullish. In fact, I don't really see an edge in this one unless we saw a strong move higher from here that took us back to 196. Above 196, I'm like, wahoo. 268 we can look for, and then 327. But here with flat moving averages, we're, to be quite honest, we're just at risk of a swing lower as a swing higher. There's a lot to say. There's a lot to be, like, it's not, for example, you know, we keep doing these this move lower was not a new downswing. This was a correction. Look, A, B, C. And so potentially, you know, I could have counted it wrong, and we could be starting a new upswing. And if we break higher from here, like if we, you know, we've got pretty nice support here in the middle. Let's put on our 50%, see where that is. If that's what's holding us, no. So we're doing that 618382 thing. If we break higher here, let's have another go at that 196. I don't think there's any harm with buying it, and see if we can break it. And if this time we do, you know, then you're on track and you've got that bullish reversal. But I would like to see, you know, everything moving up and a strong move above 180 to make me want to buy it in Matic. So not neutral. I'm pretty neutral at the moment. Silica. Now, Zilliqa was one of my picks this morning. And the reason it was a pick this morning is because it looked like, you know, we'd had a really strong close and we were going to hold above this previous high, which would reverse the trend. Happy days, but we're having a bit more of a pullback than I was hoping. And I really was hoping this would just keep going higher. Not only that, but if this may be in Zilliqa, one of those corrections where we've gone A and then this is B and then this C leg is 61.8 of the first swing. And you know, so it's not quite as bullish as I was hoping. So it's all going to be now, and when for me, for the confirmation, I put my fibs on this way. Okay, as soon as we pull back more than the 236 fib, which we did here, which was this low, then that's it. We've got a reversal on. So Shamal says another record close. Was it really? Damn. Those indices are really something. See, nobody's panicked. Nobody needs to buy any Bitcoin. Now, if I look at these highest closing levels here, like, let's put these on. And this, see this level here? This, I suppose if we don't close below this level, maybe there's a bit of support here. But I'm not going to give up on Zilliqa. It's pulled back a little bit more than I wanted it to if we were going to keep trending higher. So rather than being still in an uptrend in Zilliqa, you know, we're now in a correction. That's, you know, If you have a rally and then you have sideways inside bars, you're just consolidating, looking for another leg higher. For me, as soon as you close, see this big green candle, as soon as you close more than 50% down of the open close, that's a bearish reversal for me, and that's at 75. So I'm feeling like Zilliqa's topped a little bit more than I want. Now, if we have a big rally, we only have to go a point higher, let's face it, and then we're above 75, then it may be that Zilliqa's saved the day and we keep going higher from here, but just it's making me a little nervous at the moment. I would like to see Zilliqa keep going higher. Target's 116, which is all the way up here, and the 200 moving average. So we've got a target at 92 and then 116. Link, Ren, sorry, let me see. CET and then hot. Okay, CET. I can't find that one. Where are you? Okay, never mind. Let's see CET. Okay, Alex Kirschmeyer, CET. I'm wondering, let's see which one you meant. Let's see, CET. CoinEx. Is that the one you mean? This one's got a pretty good look. Thank you, Alex. Okay, here's the... Look at this opening close prices, this tricky level, isn't it? Anyway. Fear not, let's see where we are. When I look at the weekly, there's lots to like about this to make you think that we could keep going higher. Our support for this one is at 24,000. That's this previous low, this previous wave 4. It's a weekly 20 moving average. So if we're looking to where would we be wrong below, I would say 2,400. And where would we likely to find support? 2,400. So looking for a pullback. And it's amazing how often you do come back to those like previous wave 4s. So not a rally yet. Looking good though. Look at this daily. These daily moving averages. We're above the 200. 20 and 50 have crossed. We should find support around here for another leg higher, and see how we've been, sometimes you go through a fib level like this 236 fib that we did here, and then we closed above it, and then it was support, and so this 38.2 should be the same, 30,900, and then 36,000, sorry, 500 would be next upside target, and 50% of the drop. So yeah, all the moving averages and everything else say this one should carry on higher after this pullback. I'm doing all this wrong. There we go. Okay. Roman says that big pump of Bitcoin might just be 1-to-1, and then Bitcoin should test 3K again. I hope you're wrong. I don't feel it like that at the moment, but let's see. Hot Holo. Let's have a look at some Holo. Not that one. I hate these, these ones with chunky ticks where the numbers are really low, because it makes for a funky looking chart. Now, this one, still sideways, trying to creep higher in Holo. Really good level that we've done it off as well, if we look. So effectively, we're a big fat double bottom. We've retested the lows at 7, trying to make our way all the way back up to the top of the range again. So have we done it yet? We're starting to. if you want to see a counter trend rally, you rally above the daily moving averages, you pull back, find support, and then you continue higher. So at the moment though, this one's just going sideways. Our moving averages are flat and we haven't really got any kind of a trend. I think at this point, if I was looking to buy this one, I would want to see it above these highs, and I would want to see it above the 200 moving average at 13. And then I think we've got a really decent chance. Otherwise, you know, it's all very choppy, flat and overlapping and not enticing me against Bitcoin. If we look at it against the US dollar, it's probably going to just be the same. Sometimes the chart looks a bit better. And we can see what's the problem here. Holo against the US dollar. We failed at this 236 fib, our Fibonacci trend resistance, after a valiant attempt at it. How many times did we try? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So our best hope now is that we find support here, kind of 50 way back, and have another go at it. We're right at that 50 now, aren't we? There we go. Okay. So potentially now in Holo, we're at a level where we could find some support. So we need to peek under the hood and see, are we turning it around? Not quite yet. Big bump and holding up on the retest. So let's see in Holo. Really, if you were going to pile in, like buy a lot, you want it above 10,181 in against Tether. That's really strong trend resistance. That would say the bottom's in. And, you know, if we move it across, there's so much resistance here. There we go. Above there's anyway, so our base. So 181 is key for a big rally and a pump in Holo Tether. Theta, and let me see where I am. Hot, I've done. Matic and Zil, I've done. Link, Ren, Theta, Link, Ren, Theta. Okay. Link is one of my favorite coins, but I'm just not sure that this is the best time for Link. And let's, in fact, it's all become quite hard to read. Here's Link. So, and the problem is that these highs, you know, we can't make a new high. We've got this. This is Link Bitcoin. So now normally you would say, okay, nice 5 waves up, and then you're going to go ABC and carry on, okay, or something like that. And in this case, and I thought, well, maybe this is an irregular correction, and I don't think it is. So I think that that was our 5 waves here. And now maybe that we're starting a bigger correction. Either way, it's pretty clear. And let's put the fibs on to give ourselves a better idea of the level. And we'll put our 886 fib in here. Unless we break this 886 fib level, then we're not going high. What's interesting about this, remember I said we might just be starting a big ABC here. Okay, well, from this high to this low, we reversed at the 886 fib here. We didn't quite get to the 50% back. And that's really weird because that's like one of those rock solid take to the bank targets when you reverse at an 886 fib. Now, what if this is just a big ABC and Link like this? Because then if we do it this time, that takes us to our target. So I'm starting to think that that's maybe what we're going to do. So the 50% level becomes here, these lows and the thing, the 61.8, and more likely we're going to end up here. 27,000 before we can buy again. So then that would be a big ABC correction, wouldn't it? And, annoying. So 27,153 potentially, although we could very well bounce from 30,250 around there, and these highs and this daily 50. So links off my menu for now while I wait and see what it's going to do. Okay, Ren and BAT. Ren. Even BNB, I'm sure like everyone else I was trying to buy BNB. That didn't happen. So here's Ren. Let's start on our daily chart, because this lower high isn't very inspiring. Let's tidy up our chart though and put regular candles on this daily, because sorry, I'm just gonna it's all for, you know, it's all quite neutral. When your moving averages go flat, which they have here, and you're going back and forward through them, it's so easy to get chopped up. I'm going to put my fibs on from this low to high here, and look where we are. We're doing that 61.8, 38. So the golden ratio zone, it's where the bulls and the bears fight it out. So we'll mark 61.8, 236 there. So this is like one of those zones in between where we could honestly go back and forward a few times before we decide who's going to win. So I would say Ren, you know, it's too neutral for me, and it's possible, it looks like we made an ABC and we should be starting a new uptrend, but it's possible that this is just the first leg in a bigger ABC, you know, and that we end up down. Then if we did that, we would end up with a Gartley pattern down here at the 786 fib, if that was the case. So we need to be a little bit careful in Ren. Yeah, we could end up doing that. Then we've got our big ABC, and that makes this a big Gartley pattern, which is still bullish. It's still a big trend continuation pattern. But if you're in Ren here at 638, you don't really want it to go down to 461, because you've just given back a third, 30%. So I would be neutral, waiting for this to either retest these lows, make a bottom, or something like that. Okay, that was Ren. So next we're going to look at basic attention token, another one of my favorite coins. So what keeps happening this is a big weekly view. I don't know why we're looking at Poloniex. Let's look at yeah, because that one, I don't want to do that to me. Binance there. I'm just moving because we've got a bit more history when we do this. Okay. So if we do the big, I'm just looking to see what fibs work, because we want beyond that 786. So I don't think that's working anymore. So we're going to look at retrace levels from this high to this low, and where we got knocked back before was the 236 fib. So that then becomes key to a bullish reversal for basic attention token on the weekly. 3417. Let's make that a bit darker, because I'm nearly blind. If you think you can't see it, I can't see it either. So there we go. Okay, 3417. And the problem here is, let's go down to a daily. The problem here is, with a big juicy, what may be 5 waves up, is this just looks like A. So that means we're doing B, and we've still got a C leg to come. So I'm a little bit concerned that we may need another leg lower here in basic attention token before we can buy it again. And I'm wrong, I'm dead wrong, and we're going up if we get back above 3417. So if you are long, be a little bit cautious. Make sure that we make a new high. If we don't, and if we reverse before then, and you're going to say, well, how do I know if we've reversed? Well, let's go look at it on a 4 hour. For me, if we come back more than the 236 fib from this low, that's us reversed, okay? So at the moment, we'll keep measuring it from this low down here. So as long as we stay above 3062, we're still going up and this previous swing low. And if we go up a bit higher, move it up, move it up, move it up. And that's how, for me, I know if we've reversed. So at the moment, we're still happy days in an uptrend. Still looking to retest that 3417 level. But if we drop below 3062, I would say, okay, there we go. It's not going to happen. One of the other reasons why I think we may, this is A, B, C, is this looks quite whooshy, doesn't it? And this looks quite choppy and overlapping. But well, let's see. Okay. Giselle, just for you, I'm going to do Ripple. Don't forget Theta. No, I'm not really blind, but I'm looking at the chart, not the chat, really, most of the time. So I am going to do Ripple and Theta before I go. I will not forget Theta. No. Petra, he's a really awesome member of our group. Theta's one of her, and he really helps people. Theta's one of her favourite coins, and with good reason. The problem is it's such a heartbreaker. We are turning up higher again, though, finally. So let's take some stuff off and have a bit of a clean up here before we talk about what we might be doing. So if I measure from this high and I connect this high, this third touch false break, and when you get a third touch of a foot trend line, you expect a false break, gave us a really nasty knockback. And it's all looking a bit corrective, I hate to say. And that's a bit of a worry, because it may be that we, don't hold these lows and we break lower. But this time, I think we're headed back to the top. And this time, if we break out, we will have the 200 moving average on our side, which was nasty resistance when we tried this in May. So to be honest, until we break out of this equal triangle, I'm kind of open to either way. Here's our lows. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6, 7 touches on the bottom, 3 touches on the top. So that's our clear range. If we break the lows, we're going to at least retest the lows, if not new lows. And if we break out of the top, happy days. That's where we are with this one. Now, this 236 fib. Interim levels. Let's put some interim levels in, because they're working. This 38.2 at 12.95, we've been tested twice. But I think if we get back above this 236 fib again and these lows, 11.45, that's where we'll go. So 11.45 for me, this 236 fib is key. Why might it also be key? So we're going to mark 11.45. If you're long of it, you should be wary what happens at 11.45. It might also be key because if I measured this first bounce leg off the low and I project it from here, that's also the equal measured move, which would be bearish at 11.51. So that's our confluence of resistance that we've got to break above in Theta token Bitcoin if we're going to go back to the top of the ridge and have a chance at breaking out. So that's what I'm looking for. 11.50 then. Major resistance, that will just be a measured move. And we want to see it go beyond and up. So Theta, it's looking good, but it's really got to get through that level. And then Ripple. Nobody wants to know what I have to say. Let's do Ripple dollar, because then we're comparing Ripple with, apples and apples and so on. and that's what we want to be doing, like Bitcoin and stuff. So we want to see it. Is it going up against the dollar? You've got to say, when you look at this, where is the trend? There really isn't a trend. On the weekly here in Ripple, these moving averages are dead flat. This low, you know, really, we've had a bit of a fight over this level, but here we are really kind of holding on to it. If we look at it on a monthly chart, we've held this to support on the monthly. No monthly close. Let me make this sure this is horizontal. No monthly close below this major support level. So in fact, this is a bit of a monthly swing failure pattern, isn't it? It's quite, that should be quite bullish. So here we are retesting at the lows again of this level. Might we poke our head underneath? We might. But as long as we don't close the month underneath it, this is a back test of really good support. Flat moving averages on the daily in a sideways range. So I'm not worried. What's going to be our bullish trigger though? I'm going to draw the 236 fib from this high. That's 38.2. It's not working, is it? Yeah, we're just back on the, in terms of dollar. So just like Bitcoin, at a support level where we really should bounce, here in Ripple, we're at a support level where we really should bounce. If we measure our swings in this pullback, it's also a perfect look. A, B, C, if we count this spike. Let's hope every week, every exchange has the same spike. So we've got an ABC correction. We've got really good support, a monthly level. Lots of reasons to look for a bullish reversal here. Now, might take a bit of time. We might have to do this, then bounce, then retest. Ripple loves to do this. But this is a really good level to look for support in Ripple dollar. Really good support level. So don't be too gloomy that we're back at the lows. I know it's kind of a last line, but Monero. Again, so let's look at Monero against the dollar, because, and I hate to say this, but let's put regular candles on. Let's try a weekly. I'm going to just do, okay, there we go. Now in Monero, and I'm looking at Kraken because it's got more history. I'm going to put where my 886 fib is. There we go. So we're going back and forward sideways at, from this big high, a big, let me highlight this. What I thought was a big ABC swing and 886 fib reversal level. We've come all the way back to retest it. It's not quite the bottom of the range, and let's have a bit of a chart tidy up, but it's looking a little bit like a fail, isn't it? Now, if you bounce from an 886, you need to get above a 786. Did we do that? Not really. So still Monero dollar in a bit of a downtrend, and looking vulnerable, to be quite honest, that we make a big retest of the lows. So unless these lows hold and we don't make a base, potentially. Hello, Felipe, how are you? Long time. So we've got a bit of room to make a base, double bottom, something like that. But really, when is Monero going to be going up again? Not really until we get back above this 108 level. We're just in between then going sideways, unfortunately. Yeah, not much we can do. This shape, you know, when you have this drop and this, it just looks like a bear flag. It doesn't mean that it is guaranteed to break. You know, we could just test, and you never know when you're going to get another leg or in this channel, but it's not got a bullish look yet for me in Monero. So Let me take that away. So you know how we talk about this, whenever you're looking for that reversal, let's do it in red. Whenever you're looking for that reversal, so you're looking for that 236 fib and you take it from the swing high, okay? So as soon as you get above it, it works all the way. So as soon as you get above it, you know you're in a bigger bounce. Like here we had a bigger bounce, 50%, okay? In this one, okay, initially this 236, then we had another leg. So here, this resistance, our first line of resistance that we tested is that, haven't quite tested, is that 236 fib. If we get above that, we can say, okay, we can start looking for a bigger correction. But until then, still in a downtrend, I'm afraid, in Monero dollar, and not outperforming Bitcoin. That would be another reason to look at Monero if you thought we were outperforming Bitcoin. I think we've bounced off a decent level where we might start to see a reversal, but so far everything's gone a little flat, and we have not. We've got this level sideways here that we're stuck underneath, so not, you can see these lows and highs, so not compelling yet for Monero Bitcoin either. That would be quite a nice trend reversal if we could take out this last swing high. Okay, so that's it. Hope that was helpful. See you all next week. Thanks for coming. So the main thing we're watching for is Bitcoin. We're looking for Bitcoin to come into a level where we hopefully find some support, ABC correction, yada yada, around 8,100 and rally from here. So I'm watching the lower time price action, see if we can make a basis. We've only just tagged the level, or we haven't actually quite tagged the level, I should say. There's room for one more little push, I think. At this point, if you're looking, if you're thinking about shorts, the risk reward for me is not there for shorting it. And in fact, we have tagged at 8,060. At Bitstamp we have. Waiting is number one, isn't it? Yeah. And it might mean that you missed the first rally. We might, for example, rally all the way back up to these highs and lows, this level here, 8687. We might see a bit of a pullback above 8687 right now. If we rallied from here, we didn't make a new low. I think above 8687 for me, and this hourly 200, that would be the reversal that I would be looking for to say we're going up. Okay, good night, everyone.